Let me bring this bad boy over. First episode of the podcast. Now you're probably wondering, Chris, why do you look like crap? Dude, let me tell you something. I've spent all day mixing concrete for my uncle at his house. He said, yo, it'll only take a few hours. Let me tell you something. I got there at 10 a.m. I left at 10 p.m. Miserable, right? So clearly, I'm very tired. I'm also using a GoPro Hero 4 from like 2008, back when they just figured out what 4K resolution is and only does 15 frames a second at ultra wide. So, obviously, we still have some logistics to figure out. I got to get new cameras, all that stuff. So, but we're good enough that we can still do the first one. And let me tell you something. We got a lot to talk about for the first one. So, first thing I want to say is the whole reason we wanted to do the podcast was not only because I've always kind of wanted a podcast, but also because this was our way of kind of bringing the viewers into the projects. So what I mean by that is I wanted you guys to have a little bit more of a say in what is done on the channel. Again, a lot of people recommend video games that, I'm going to be honest with you, I either just don't want to play, like some bullshit retro game from the 70s. Like, what? Hey, let's not do that, right? So what I wanted to do was make a Discord, which Jason and I already made. So it's an open invitation. You'll find it. I'll put it in the link down below of all my videos for now on. And it's also on the main page of YouTube in the top right corner with all my social media stuff. And it's also in all the links down below on all of my streaming websites. So Twitch, DLive, and Trovo. So in there, if you look at it, again, I'll leave a little picture up for you. But we have our general chat, which is what we'll use for Warzone or whatever games we play together, just so I can move you guys up if you're in there. All chat, and all chat is really just for, as you guys know, I stream on multiple platforms, and sometimes people are like, oh, who are you talking to? I don't see their chat. Well, that's because they're in another chat, so I was thinking maybe we just use Discord chat as like our normal, like if you really want to see everyone else, just do it that way. So we'll have like a Discord chat, I guess you can say, even though it probably hurts analytically. Yeah, whatever. Do it that way. The other one is game ideas for YouTube. And then the last one, as you guys see, is podcast questions and topics. So that's where you guys come in mostly. So this podcast is really only as good as you guys make it. Of course, I'll do some curating of news articles or whatever. This is not just a gaming podcast. I don't want it to be a gaming podcast. I want it to be a podcast about everything where you guys can ask me questions, where you guys can just regular life questions, as well as political stuff. I'm sure we're going to be getting into politics a lot. I come from a very political family. And I think one of the reasons I want to talk about politics, especially with the younger audience I have, isn't to push my opinions or anything on you. That's not the goal of this at all. It's more so the fact that I got into politics really late in life, whereas I always tried to avoid it because my family was so political. But I realized that there's a saying that if you don't get involved in politics, politics will get involved with you. And that is such a true statement. And I think we're kind of at that point, especially nowadays, where we do have to kind of talk about that kind of stuff. But it's going to be silly. It's going to be silly stuff sometimes. So as I said, it's not really a gaming podcast, but this week, it is going to be all about gaming because we had a big last 2 weeks. We had the Indie Showcase 2022 and we had the Bathesda Showcase this week. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything about the Discord. Let me just pull up my notes here. So the Indie Game 1, we're not going to talk about too much because the Indie Game 1 was 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to be real with you. Dr. Disrespect said it best. We are a $128 billion industry, the gaming industry. And there were little to no indie games that we saw that really blew our minds, which was kind of depressing because I like good indie games. It's not looking good for 2023, indie game-wise. Not excited for that. But they did announce the Arkham game fully. They had the trailer out. We've known about the Arkham game for a while, so I shouldn't say it's really an announcement, but we saw the actual showcase trailer for Batman Arkham Knights. And let me tell you something. I'm excited for it. I hope it does really well, but I get this kind of too arcadey vibe. There's a arcade vibe that I'm not liking. And it reminds me a lot of that Marvel Avengers game that came out 2 years ago that was a complete and utter blue ball, where basically the first two levels are sick as hell. You're like, yo, this game's gonna be lit. And then the second or the third level starts and you're like, this fucking blows. Which was exactly what I did when I played it. So, yeah, I hope it doesn't take that route. I really, really pray it doesn't. So we're going to keep our hopes high. That's what we're going to say. But yeah, that's really it from the indie. We watched it together as a stream and in our Discord, our personal Discord. And yeah, there was nothing in there that I thought was really worth getting, which was depressing. I'm sure there's going to be indie games that come out that will be decent. They just weren't showcased. But the big one we got to talk about today is the Bathesda 2022. So this was on Tuesday, I think I watched it. So my notes are a little old. Today's it's Saturday. It's 11 p.m. My God. So let's just start. I took notes on everything. I watched the whole thing. We got a lot to talk about. So let's start with Redfall. Now, Redfall, this was a banger of a start to a showcase. So this is basically a cross between Left 4 Dead 2 and a zombie hunting game. Vampire hunting game. Bro, I've always wanted a vampire co-op hunting game. I've always wanted it, and I never got it. And this is it. It's like we're gonna throw some Borderlands ideas in. You got a siren or someone that has some kind of paranormal powers, if you will. Oh shit, paranormal powers. I weigh too much. Anyway, paranormal powers, and then you have specialists. You have whatever. It looks really good. Now, one thing you always have to know about trailers. Oh, I got cement in my eye. Sorry. One thing you always have to know about trailers, though, and I think one of the worst cases of this was Rainbow Six Siege. The trailers tell a tenth of what the actual gameplay is going to be. If you look up the trailer launch for Rainbow Six Siege, you'll go, oh, this is not Rainbow Six. What is this, Ubisoft? This is a lie. And that's exactly what I feel like Redfall could be. Luckily, they did show gameplay, and it looked fantastic. So that's one I'm super pumped for. But one that I'm even more so pumped for is Hollow Knight 2 Silksong. Now, I am a huge fan of Hollow Knight, and I think everyone should be a fan of Hollow Knight because it has literally become its own genre of games. Like, there's so many we played Haiku the Robot, we played Pronty Fish, I played a bunch of ones that I never put videos out on, I don't think, because they were like, it's tough to edit, but that's besides the point. I love a good Hollow Knight game, and they're like the top of the food chain. To me, they are the AAA indie game of indie games, if that makes sense. So yeah, Silksong, you play as the female protagonist rather than the actual Hollow Knight. And it looks like it's more combat focused, which I'm super pumped for. Because one thing if you're good at Hollow Knight, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. It's really just a left and a right, up, down attack. And then you just kind of jump around. Whereas this one, it looks like there's more so throwables, combos. So that's going to be super dope. I don't think they can go wrong. It would be very hard to go wrong. Rick and Morty High on Life was the second game. Now, I played the first Rick and Morty game, which was a VR game. I don't remember what it was called. I'm going to be honest with you. But I'll tell you this. I was not asking for a second one. I don't think anyone was. And this one scares me because it looks like a cyberpunk-esque game. It literally looks like cyberpunk with Rick and Morty hand models. That's about it. And guns. And listen, when we think about how much of a flop Cyberpunk was at the start, if I was any other company, I would go, hey, let's stay away from that mentality. Like stay away from that game. But these guys doubled down. They said, hey, not only are we going to make a game that looks and feels like Cyberpunk, but we're going to throw Rick and Morty in there. And I was like, what? Okay. I mean, you could try it. I don't know if it's going to be any good. this is one I wasn't asking for. It's there. I wasn't asking for it. I don't think anyone was really asking for it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think there was anyone that was too excited about it. I think everyone was like, oh, okay, whatever. Next was Plague Tale Requiem. Now, this is one that I do want to talk about because I played the original Plague's Tale probably 3, maybe 4 years ago. It could be now. I don't know. I'd have to check that one. I think I have a video on it. But I know I think we streamed it actually. I think we streamed the rest. So I'm going to say, yeah, we do have a video. So go check that out. Shameless plug. So for those of you that haven't played this game, it takes place during the bubonic plague. You play as a female who's probably in her mid-teens. Her parents get killed by the government or someone, like an assassin group. The son gets captured, so your brother gets captured, and you basically have to go through the bubonic plague to save him. And it's basically like a horror stealth game, and let me tell you, it's a phenomenal game. So if you haven't played it, definitely play it. Now this one, definitely play it. This one, Requiem, is pretty cool because you find out that your brother, based on the trailer, you find out that your brother can actually control the rats, and that's why the people captured him. Now, as I said, the first one's more of a stealth game. There's not too much combat. It's one of those games where you can't really fight a bunch of guys. But in this new one, it looks like the main character does quite a bit of fighting, which was pretty impressive. If it has a good combat system, I'm going to be super pumped for this game. If it doesn't, then it's just kind of a reskin of the same one. But I think it's going to be really good. So I'm pretty pumped for it. Again, all of these games, though, one thing I forgot to mention, I think all of these, except for maybe 3 of them, don't come out till next year. So we don't even have full release dates. Yeah, you just watched me scratch my nuts. You saw it. Anyway. But now it kind of goes downhill a little bit. Let's talk about LOL. So, one of the big announcements that Riot had, was that they are moving League of Legends, Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, and Valorant are all going to the Xbox Game Pass for free. And not only are they going for free, but it seems like, now, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, they are going to be adding all of the champions that you can possibly get to the game. So I don't care for Valorant. Like, if you want to do that for Valorant, fine. But as someone who's played League of Legends, like just with friends, like my friends play it all the time, I don't. But there's 141 champions that you have to pay for in League of Legends. Now, it is a grind, a straight up grind to get Matt's been playing for 20 years and he still doesn't have all the champions. So now you're just going to kind of give this free handout of 141 champions. That's a weird one to me. And also with League of Legends, you don't want to have all 141 off the bat because you have to learn the champions. If you want to be good at League of Legends, you have to master characters, right? You don't have to master every character, but you have to find the ones that you can master and get really good at those. Like, I think most people, and again, this could be completely talking out of my ass, I think most League of Legends players only master like 20 characters that they use in rotation. Like, I know there's a lot of characters that aren't even played, but you still have to put in the grind and the hours and the work to get good at that champion. So this is kind of a weird move. I'm curious to see what happens with this. I do feel like it's kind of an FU to all the old veteran players because you force them to buy all these champions using real money. Matt Sprague has spent like $5,000 just in League accounts. That's not even in champions. I mean, does he get banned every week? Yes. Does he say words in chat that he shouldn't use? Yes. Get it together, Matt Sprague. So yeah, I'm curious to see. With Valorant, I really don't care. Listen, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what we're all thinking. Valorant is CSGO's retarded younger cousin. I said it. I said the R word. We played CSGO the other day, and let me tell you, CSGO holds up. The shooting feels good. The movement feels good. There's nothing wrong with CS from a shooter perspective. Valorant feels like shit. It just does. We all know this. I know it. You know it. We all know it. Right? Valorant feels to me. Now, this is from... I probably have 50 hours in Valorant total from since it came out. And I know you're going to say, no, they've made so many changes. No, they haven't. Okay? It feels like the first shot might be accurate, and then everything else is just pure random. It just feels like a crappy shooter. But to make matters worse with Valorant, and I've said this many times before on stream, what happens is they release this new champion that's really good for 2 weeks, and then they nerf it to shit, and then he's useless. They do it every time, right? And then the balancing in the game is so bad. You have champions that have unbelievable abilities and champions that have abilities that do absolutely nothing. That's Valorant in a nutshell. Don't tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. Okay? Okay? Get rid of the Pro League. No one cares. I said it. I'll fight anyone. I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. Ooh. Lights out. Ooh. Anyway. Now, this is a good one. So, hold on, let me do this how they announced it to us. Ready? After 40 years of making the game, one of the top games in the world, we would like to announce Microsoft Flight Simulator 2022. They say it like everyone plays this. I might have played one once many years ago. Maybe. Okay? But that's not the kicker. The kicker is if you get it, you get a free copy of Halo Infinite. Now, tell me your game flopped without telling me your game flopped. That tells me that Halo Infinite did so poorly, or is doing so poorly, that they had to tack it on to Flight Simulator, which might have 5,000 players. Let's see. I have to know. Flight Simulator player base. Like, I feel like this is just something that they use to train pilots. Show it to me. Yeah. 6,000. You're averaging 6,000 players a month. So what's Halo Infinite player base? Now, remember, this is not, I know what you're thinking, free-to-play game. We're not talking the free-to-play version. We're talking about we're talking about the campaign. Okay, so Halo Infinite's player base. Oh, okay. They're getting like 20,000 players a day, which isn't too bad. It's like it fluctuates between like, okay, so January was 31,000, then 15, 10,000. May it went up to 21,000, so that means they did an update, and then it's split in half at 11. So, yeah, that's not very good. I mean, it's not Battlefield 2024 or whatever, or 42. Can't even say. Hey. Battlefield. Come up with better names, right? Let's not just do numbers. Anyways. So yeah, that one I had some questions. I was like, what the fuck? Straight up. I saw Halo Infinite. I was like, wait, what? Why are you giving me a copy of Halo Infinite? Anyway. Now, but it just goes downhill from here. It kind of went downhill and then it goes up towards the end and then back down, but whatever. So the next thing we had on the list was Overwatch 2. Now, we all know how Overwatch 2 is doing right now, but I loved the way they put this. They said, Overwatch 2, get ready for a new era. There's nothing new about it, guys. There's nothing new. You added one champion and balanced a couple things out. Well, okay, I take it back. That's not completely true. So now you only have one tank, and I think it's five. I think it's teams of 5 now. I think you have one tank with a lot of health, and then 2 DPS and 2 healers or supports. I could be wrong, but free to play apparently, which is interesting because I have to check that one. I don't know if the PvE is free to play, or I'm sorry, the PvP, and then the PvE you have to pay $40 for. But based on how bad the reviews were for when they did the beta testing for all the streamers, That's not very good. That's pretty fucking bad, actually, to be honest with you. That's not what we wanted to see. Um, Now I don't think we've seen any gameplay on the PvE yet. I think we've only seen PvP. Is that right, imaginary producer? Yeah, good thing you agree with me, dude. Good thing. So yeah, Overwatch 2, no one's gonna play it. I think it's gonna have a huge bump at the beginning and it's just gonna fucking level off real quick. That's usually how those go. Next thing that came up, I didn't even write down the title for this next game. I just wrote strategy games as a note. And let me tell you something. This is my problem with strategy games. I'm not a big strategy guy. I know Matt's a big strategy guy. He plays a lot of Civ. I also found out our friend Drew plays a lot of sim games. I didn't even know that. But the problem with strategy and sim games, is that they have these amazing trailers that looks like you're about to get this crazy story, and then they never show you any gameplay. And you kind of just feel like you just got blue balled. That's about it. That's all. So that's why I've never gotten into strategy games. Usually with strategy games, I actually had to ask Drew. Drew kind of enlightened me on this one. So with strategy games, for those of you that have played something like a Civ or Sid Meier's Pirates, I guess. I don't even know. Dude, that just kind of came off the top of the dome. I don't even remember that game very well. But basically the way you win is you create a civilization and you have to win in one of four ways. You either do it in military, religion, economy, something else probably. Yeah, I just can't get into strategy games. I need action. But this next one is kind of interesting to me, kind of not. So they announced Elden Ring High Rise, and here's my thing with Elden Ring. So I played Elder Scrolls. I kind of somewhat I grew up on Elder Scrolls because they've made 50 versions of the last one. And because of that, I have no care for the Elden Ring series anymore. Or Oh, I'm so sorry. It's not Elden Ring. I'm stupid. It's Skyrim High Rise. Hey Chris, stop confusing them. Dude, I definitely put everyone in a fucking doozy there, didn't I? I'm sorry. I meant to say Skyrim. Skyrim High Rise. As I said, I don't know why I said Elden Ring. What the fuck? What, Chris, are you dumb as shit? Anyway. Yeah, as I was going on with my rant, I have no care in the world for the new Skyrim games. I just don't. Everyone's been talking about the new one that's coming out. I got nothing. I got nothing for it. I know it's going to be good. I'm just not excited for it. And then watch, they're going to do another 20 years of just releasing High Rise or whatever the next one's going to be for fucking. We're going to have a high definition for the PS6, the PS7, the PS8, and then maybe by the time my grandkids turn 12, they'll have the next one, Skyrim 8 or whatever they're on. So, yeah, I can't get excited for Skyrim anymore. I will admit, I never played the multiplayer one that they had. I think it's just Skyrim Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, I don't hear good things about it. There's not much to go by. I'm just not excited for it. And I think a lot of people are kind of in the same boat. Because High Rise isn't even the next one. I think it's just another multiplayer spinoff. So, yeah, I don't have much to add to that one. Next but not least. That's not even a word. That's not even saying, I mean. It's last but not least. Again, long day. Fallout 76, The Pit. So I think what this is, to be honest with you, is a DLC that is their Hail Mary throw to try and get some sales out of this game. So Fallout 76, as we all know, was an absolute utter failure. They've brought it back a little bit with some patches, but it's not there. And I think what they want to do was they wanted to create a DLC overhaul, if you will, to try and bring it back or get just some more money out of it. But they did the next day. So after this, I just saw this. They did announce that they are working on Fallout 5, which that's like their big deal. So I'm sure a smaller development team is going to be working on The Pit. We'll see. That's another one. We'll see. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I maybe you'll bring some players out, the 5 people that actually liked Fallout 76, but I think we're going to get ready for Fallout 5, but they did say that it's not going to come out for, I think, 2025. So we got time. We got a lot of time. Kind of a shame, because Fallout 4 wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Kind of, right, everyone kind of, the unanimous decision is that Fallout New Vegas is kind of the best we've ever had. And then Fallout, I think 3 came next. I forget if it's 3 and then I think it's New Vegas and 3. But either way, New Vegas and 3, everyone's always like, oh, that's the best one. 4 wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. And then Fallout 76 just tanked hard. Not good. Not good. Next thing on our list was Scorn, which was a Doom clone. Now, it looked really good. It was almost, I like Doom clones because, so Doom as in like Doom Eternal or whatever Doom you want to go by. I like Doom clones because basically the goal of Doom clones is to somehow be bloodier and gorier than Doom itself. So that's what this one was. It actually looked like a lot more horrifying, in my opinion. There's a lot of, it just looked bloody. That's it. And it piqued my interest. Let's put it that way. Flintlock was the next one, which looked like a God of War clone. It looked like a female protagonist. It did look like an indie God of War. Same fighting style, same everything. It did have some weird mechanics that I didn't really enjoy, kind of like a flying, but it's like a foot hop. It looked really good. I wish they told us more about the story, because if it's like a God of War story, I'm in. If it's kind of some bullshit story like, oh, I gotta find my son, I'm gonna get pissed, because it's one of those games that looks like it has a lot of potential but can easily fall short, and that's what I'm afraid of, because I do want a God of War clone that's worth getting. The problem is it's just very hard to compete with God of War. Like, let me rephrase that. You're not going to compete with God of War, but because God of War comes out once every 10 years, you have those 10 years to come up with a game that's phenomenal on par with God of War. No offense to all the companies out there that are going to hear this 20 years down the line when I'm balling and everyone's watching. But you're not going to be God of War. You won't. You could try, and you could come close and give me something to do while I wait for God of War to come out, but you're not going to beat God of War. And next was Minecraft Legends. So, Minecraft Legends. I don't have a problem with these games. It's just it's not catered to adults. It's just not. So basically what this is, it's kind of like a cross between a strategy game and a hack and slash. They had Minecraft Dungeons come out a couple years ago, and my brother and I played it. I don't even think I put the video out on it. I'm not sure. I have too many videos at this point. But it just wasn't... It was fun for a day, and then that was it. And I feel like this is going to be the same thing. Minecraft itself is a great game, but once you start doing these spin-offs, they kind of lose their luster, their sparkle. And I think that's going to be a great example. I could be wrong. That's definitely one of those I could be wrong on. I think it'll sell. It's one of those games that you'll play for a day if it does sell well, and then kids will stop playing it. I feels like the kind of game, and I say this with every Minecraft type game, it just makes me want to play Minecraft. That's it. It just makes me want to play Minecraft, and I think those won't be any different. Now, a survival game I am excited for is called Lightyear Frontier. This is a survival game. I said it looks very promising, but we'll see. So the problem with survival games, and this is, I think, not the problem. I think the best way to do a survival game, like the best example we have is The Forest. The Forest is a great example of a great amount of story as well as a great amount of gameplay. And I think too many survival games either lean heavily towards the gameplay or too little on the gameplay and more on story. And I feel like let's take Grounded for instance, which we will be getting to later. Grounded has been in beta for like the last 3 years. Uh, it focused more on combat than story, and people just kind of stopped playing it. Like the building and stuff was fine, but it wasn't done, given it is early access. But you know what I mean. It focuses more on the gameplay mechanics as an early access game than the story, which kind of makes sense. I'm trying to think of one that focuses more on story than gameplay, but there's not too many because survival games don't really usually won't even have a story sometimes. But The Forest, I think, is a great example of great story through and through. Gameplay mechanics, fantastic. The building's always a huge factor. And the reason I say that, or I bring that one up, is because this Lightyear Frontier it has the potential to be fantastic. It looks really good. It's 4-player co-op. You're in mechas, and it has you have to find some secrets of some early civilization that was here. It actually looked very promising. So I really, really hope that doesn't flop. And a flop to me is if the story to gameplay ratio is not 50-50. That's usually how I judge whether a survival game is good or not. And I think the gold standard is The Forest, in my opinion. But next is Gunfire Reborn. They announced that they're coming out of early access. Now, Gunfire Reborn is a dungeon crawler that came out probably 2 years ago. I think Jason and I did the first video on. We did a couple live streams on it. It's a very good game. It's got a great skill tree. At the time, there weren't that many. It was a tough game. If you can get through it, it's one of those games where if you can get through it, the replay value kind of ends unless you want to just level up everything. I hope they focus a little more on end game stuff so that there's more of a reason to have more replayability. I know they added 2 or 3 other characters. So is it worth Jason and I playing again? Yeah, I mean, we might as well. We already own it. So, yeah, maybe when that one fully comes out, which I think either it might already be out already, or it comes out next, like end of this year, maybe. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Why not? It was a good game. It's just like once you do everything, you're like, okay, that was fun. What's next? The Last Case of Benedict Fox. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to write this one down. It's a 2D platformer, which is why I don't really. It's not that I don't like 2D platformers. It's just there's not too many of them that really spark my interest. But this one did remind me a lot of Little Nightmares, which we played through. We played Little Nightmares 1 and 2 on stream, and I've done videos on both of those. Shameless plug. Go check those out, please. I need the numbers. Yeah, it looked like so it's a Lovecraftian 2D platformer. Looks good, but again, when you have trailers, it's tough to go by a trailer for a game like that because they could show you the best parts and then the rest is just boring walking story stuff. But if you're into a story, maybe it's worth getting. Your choice. I'm not going to really touch on that one much more. The next one we saw was As Dusk Falls. This is a Decisions Matter game, but very weird graphic style. So yeah. So Detroit Become Human was kind of the game that started the genre of decisions or choices matter. And I feel like a lot of games have tried to go down that route. And I think maybe 1, maybe 2 besides Detroit Become Human were successful. I can't think of the name. I know I have a video on it. There's one where you're like a girl. It's Elliot Page, I think, is the main character. And, she's got like psychic powers or whatever. But the Decision Matters games are weird to me because they have replay value, but you really have to be into a story. And when it comes to video games, I like a good story, but if my entire life has to stop for this story, I don't know if it's worth getting. Like Detroit Become Human, I tried playing it with my mom because I knew my mom would like the story, but it was just too long. It's like a 40-hour movie at a minimum. So, and then to get all the endings, oh God, to make every single decision, oh. So this one had a very weird graphic style. It's actually done in a kind of like a comic book style. Uh, I didn't really like it, but the story actually was really intriguing. I couldn't tell, but you play as 3 different characters. That's definitely one I'm gonna keep my eye on. I don't think it comes out anytime soon, but it does look okay. It looks okay enough that I'm gonna keep my eye on it. That's probably the best way of putting it. They also announced that oh God, how do you say these Japanese games, dude? Naraka Blade Point. Fucking nailed it, dude. So this game has been out. I think it just came out of early access or whatever, but it's another battle royale, but it's more of a hack and slash. I thought Jason and I played this, but turns out we didn't. I was thinking of another game, but basically it's a ninja based battle royale. It looked really good, but then when I went through the Steam reviews, that changed real quick. So it sounds like the balancing for all of the champions is really bad because you have some people with long weapons, some people with short weapons. It's kind of like the struggle that For Honor went through. If you guys remember when For Honor first came out, there was a spear champion that was basically unbeatable. Like you literally couldn't kill him. And it sounds like that's the same problem. Also, they have tough host migration. So basically, what that means is you have global servers. So because it's an indie company, and maybe because it was an early access, you don't have like northeastern servers or central servers. It's global servers. So you can have people from other countries just use a VPN, come on over, and then play on your servers and have an advantage. And it sounds like that's one of the big problems. A lot of the Chinese players will run VPNs, and hey, this isn't racist, but let's be honest. Chinese are pretty good at video games. It's a problem. Like, legitimately, it's a problem. Some of the best players in the world in League of Legends and Valorant are all in China. Same with... Oh, dude, what's the other... League of Legends? What's the harder League of Legends? Not Diablo. What's it called? I can't think of it. Dota. Jeez. Yeah, a lot of the top players are in China. So yeah, the Chinese kind of dominate a lot of the gaming world. So yeah, that's one I might stay away from. If they fix all those, maybe I'll give it a shot. It was only $20, I think, on Steam. So if if you've always wanted a ninja-based battle royale, then Naraka Blade Points for you. The next one was Pentiment, which was a point-and-click 1400s game. Puzzle game. Now, I like a good puzzle game, as you guys know. Truth be told, I don't even know why I wrote this one down. I guess because it was like a funny comedy, but not that interesting, in my opinion. Yeah, again, I don't know why I wrote that one down. I really don't. But next was Grounded. So we just kind of touched on Grounded. So as I said, the gameplay mechanics were all there. The story wasn't really there. Now that you've come out of early access, it's fully out, and this is definitely one that's worth playing. So I know I will be getting that one. I think I have to just re-download it. I definitely bought it. So I think I did I buy that one? Was that I don't remember what account that was on. I have to see, but I know I have a video on it, so I must have. It must be on one of my accounts. But yeah, I'm pumped for Grounded. I'm really glad it came out, but that's another one of those. That's one of those. It could be good gameplay. Story could be lackluster. It's definitely one I'm going to give a try. It's definitely fun to play with friends, so definitely go do that. Next, this is a big one. The next one is probably the biggest exciting one for me, in my opinion, which was Diablo 4. Now, we all know how Diablo Immortal did. I'm not going to beat a dead horse because literally every YouTuber and streamer has talked about it. But Diablo Immortal is a pay-to-win money grab of a game. And an inexcusable mistake, we'll call it, that that company did. Diablo, they fucked up. They fucked up big time. I think they know it, but they doubled down. And we really can't... Diablo 4 is not going to be the same. I can promise you that. They're going to learn their lesson. But Diablo 3 was one of the greatest games that I ever played many, many years ago. So good, I don't even really remember it, to be honest. But they made some huge changes to Diablo 4 to keep up with the times. And that makes me happy, but it also scares me. Because when companies try and keep up with the times, you see the age gap, right? You see the age gap of what they've been working on for many, many... When a game takes many, many years to make... And in a world where times change very, very rapidly, a lot of times you will see those problems, or the game kind of gets aged out by the development time. And that's my fear for Diablo 4. We've waited 11 years for this game. It comes out 2023. The Diablo 3 came out in 2011 or 2012. So yeah, this is a big one. So couple of things I wanted to talk about besides the Diablo Immortal fail. This one doesn't have dungeons. So it has dungeons, but it's not completely dungeon based. Diablo 3, if I remember correctly, you basically go into dungeons with all your friends. You pick the dungeon and then you kind of just ran through it and then killed the boss, whatever. Now they're doing more of an open world concept, and I really like this decision. I wasn't sure at first. I talked to Dave about it. I really like the idea of an open world concept for Diablo. And what I also really like is because it's an open world for multiplayer, you have world bosses and world events. And if you're a really high level, which looks like it's going to be going by some kind of gear score, everyone is going to be able to see you on the map and they can come after you, which I really like that. I think it could be a little annoying depending on how bad it is and how big the map is. But yeah, I like all the ideas that they added. Now, the one thing that did scare me, and this is the biggest red flag in a video game for me. They said they already announced end game content right off the bat. Now, with end game content, that basically is to me. Now, it's a little different because they have been in development for 11 years. But when I hear a company say we're thinking of end game content or talking about end game content, that means that the campaign itself is not that long. And that scares me because that means that you didn't put that much work into dungeons. Like, let's say they announced this and we didn't know that. Again, you have to give it time because of the 11-year gap that they stated. So if any other company said to me, hey, we're already talking about endgame content, I would go, whoa. What do you mean? Did you skip out on the campaign? And no, that's real. I don't think that's the case. That's just what the red flag that went off in my head the second I heard it. I think what this means is just when you get to a certain level cap. So like in Destiny, let's say it's 300. I don't play Destiny, so I don't know. But let's say it's 300 and that's the max cap. You can keep going up with a different leveling system. So I think that's what they're going to do with Diablo 4. And that doesn't bother me. It just means that for balancing sake, it's going to make it a lot easier for players that have been playing a long time versus players that just got the game yesterday or whatever, So they don't have to compete with the people that are veterans. And I kind of like that idea. I think it's a good idea. So yeah. Now this is one I really want to talk about. Hold on, let me get some water real fast because I got some words for this one. Where's my agua, dude? So the next thing that they announced was Sea of Thieves, the new season. Okay. Let's talk about Sea of Thieves. I played this recently. With my brother and his friends, Johnny and... I don't even remember the other kid's name. Why can I not think of his name? Yeah, whatever. One of my brother's friends. I should probably cut that out. I won't, but I probably should. It'll come to me. I don't know him that well. But, dude, Sea of Thieves is boring as shit. I'm just going to flat out say it. It is so fucking boring. If you are super into sailing boats, that is who this is catered for. The game is 90% sailing. That's it. There's nothing to it. It's boring. It's fucking boring. Just, hey, Move on to a new game. Let's make the islands. There's like 50 islands that are spread across this giant map. Split the map in half. Bring all the. I want to be able to throw a fucking rock to the next island. I don't want to go through all that shit. All Sea of Thieves is one person solving the puzzles, which is me. One guy who's just going straight on a ship. Maybe someone like Jason, who is a godsend, helps me with the puzzles. The rest just shoot themselves out of cannons and go, "Hey, pick me up. I'm in the water 5 miles away." It annoys the shit out of me. So, yeah, the grind is still unbelievable. Unbelievable. It annoys the shit out of me. There's no benefit to playing this game. So you're still going to have to grind. It's not like you're really getting anything new out of Season 7 or whatever they're on. I think it was Season 7. But trailer was really good. I'll give it that. It had a catchy song, which I really liked. So, yeah. What's next? Oh, Ravenlock. Okay. So this was a Souls clone, I think. Not much to go by. Looks promising, but early flop potential. Yeah, this was like I almost want to say if they turned... This is going to be bold to say, but it almost kind of felt like if you took Kingdom Hearts and kind of turned it into a Souls game and got all the Disney characters out of it. It's kind of what that was. It's definitely not much to go by. It was like a 1-minute trailer. It wasn't even that much. And they were like, "Yo, what the fuck? Buy our game." I was like, "What? That's it?" I think Life of P is going to be a lot better. They didn't announce that yet. My guess is that's going to get pushed. But Life of P, for those of you that don't know, it was a Souls game that was announced right after Elden Ring came out. That's about it's like the dark side of Pinocchio. So, yeah, it looked really good. I really hope that does well. I'm super pumped for it. So, yeah, Ravenlock, not much to say on it. The next one is Cocoon, which was a boring puzzle game, but it looked like it had a sick story. Yeah, so it looked like you played as a bug or whatever. But what's cool was every level is within itself. So all the levels in the game keep so you have to get an orb and it just kind of transfers in. I know, you know what I mean. But it was a cool concept in a story, but the gameplay itself didn't look that great. It was like a 2D platformer puzzle game. Might be, again, that's one I'll keep my eye on. Not sure if I'm going to get it though. Next is the Wulong Fallen Dynasty. There's not too many more. The next one's actually the big elephant in the room that I know you guys are all waiting on. But Wulong Fallen Dynasty. So not much to go by, but looks like a Ninja Zombies game. Probably plays like Nihon, which is kind of like a Dark Souls-esque game, just with a lot more combos and stuff. Yeah, cool idea. I like Ninja Zombies. I can't complain about Ninja Zombies. I don't think anyone can. It's just fun. I like the idea of freaking using katana to cut some heads off. But yeah, this one, I forget what the story was, but essentially just Japanese empire falls because of zombies, and you just go in and you're just fucking rocking shit. Which looked good. It looked really good. But I don't know. There's not much on the story, as I actually wrote in the notes. But yeah, so that's pretty much all of it, except for the last one, which, I mean, this is going to be me beating a dead horse, or whatever the saying is, because everyone's talked about this. But Bathesda announced Starfield. So, I know a lot of people have asked me for my opinion on this, including my friends, and I'm going to give it to you. I know we're probably, 2 hours in, it feels like? It feels like 2 hours. It's probably been like half an hour. So, Stargate, is it Stargate or Starfield? Hold on, now I have to fucking look that shit up. God. Stargate or Stargate? No, it's definitely Starfield. Starfield video game. Yeah, there we go. Jeez. I mean, could come up with a better name, right? One that's a little more memorable, but essentially this is Bethesda's new game, and what I've seen everyone complain about so far is the combat system. Yeah, I'll admit the combat system looked like the most basic, bare bones combat I've ever seen in a game that's coming out. I expect for a game that's coming out in 2023 to look a lot better than that, a lot more action. It looked boring. I can't disagree with all the other big streamers and YouTubers that are saying it looked pretty crap. Um, but yeah, I'm just hoping for super early gameplay. The first thing that came to mind when I saw it was it looked like what No Man's Sky wanted to be. Uh, no Man's Sky was a huge flop that ended up getting fixed with some patches. But the difference is, I think No Man's Sky was made by one dude, whereas, I mean, Starfield, it's Bethesda. It's a big company. It just looked a little lackluster in my opinion. It has a lot of cyberpunk vibes, which scares me, and it also looks a lot like, you know, it also reminded me of Death Stranding. Um, Death Stranding, for those of you that have never played it, oh god, how do I describe Death Stranding? Death Stranding is the story of a mailman. That's about it. There's not much to Death Stranding. It has a really good story to it. Excuse me. It has a really good story to it, but the problem with it is the gameplay is so long that you won't even remember the story from cutscene to cutscene, because that's how much gameplay there is in between. Like, it's impossibly long. So you kind of it has that kind of feeling to it. But honestly, that's all the negatives that I thought about Starfield. Let me tell you what I did like. So the crafting, the skills tree, the base building, and the starships are really cool. Like, I think this is a perfect. If you go into this game thinking it's going to be like Prey or like Fallout, I think you're going to be super dissatisfied or unsatisfied. Um, I think their primary focus is to kind of take a step back from the story and let you kind of develop the story yourself by exploring. So one thing that they announced is that there are over 100 different planets that you can go to. Now that is kind of scary because that tells me it might be RNG, so randomly generated numbers on planets. So that means that you can keep going back to a planet over and over again and get new stuff, which I don't really like in a game like that. Again, when you have a game that's that big, it's a lot to go by. Don't want to do that. Definitely don't. So, yeah, Starfield. Let's be honest. I'm gonna end up getting it. No question about it. I'm gonna end up getting it. Uh, yeah, that's really it. That's really all about the. At the end of the Bethesda thing, I was like, all right. I mean, there's some potential here, but there's nothing that I was like, oh, I gotta get this day one. Except for maybe that first one with my friends. Like, I would never get Redfall by itself. But yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a flop. I wouldn't say it was a bad showcasing. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think we will have some good games. But honestly, well, all I'm waiting for. So besides that, the other games that I'm excited for that I know come out this year, well, not know come out this year, but might come out this year, are God of War, Ragnarok, which obviously we're getting and playing on stream, and Life of P, Modern Warfare 2. Or, well, yeah, I think it's just Modern Warfare 2. Excuse me. So I saw the trailer for Modern Warfare 2. A lot of people asked me my thoughts on it. I really like what they're doing with the new Warzone. I'm sick and tired of having to grind out attachments. Luckily, they're not going to do that anymore. Thank God. Thank God, because I'm tired of using the shittiest weapons in the world. They're starting with a clean slate. They've made some really cool decisions. So basically how it works now, for those of you that don't know, and what I'm super excited for. So it seems like all your attachments are going to be category based. So you'll have all the attachments are shared for assault rifle. All the attachments are shared for SMG, sniper, LMG, shotgun, that kind of stuff. But what's really cool is you can change the stats based on length. So like, let's say you have a 40 round magazine, right? You can shorten it to 30 so that you have better sprint speed or whatever, or you can lengthen it to 50 to bring your ADS lower but higher capacity. And then with barrels, same thing. You can go for distance, or you can go for a short barrel and get your movement speed up, like that kind of stuff. I love that. I think that's the customization that Call of Duty needs. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I'm sure it's going to have a great campaign. Modern Warfare 2019 had a really good campaign. I do think that it was good, but it wasn't that memorable in my opinion. I know a lot of people would disagree with me, and that's a fair disagreement. I didn't really play. We played through it on stream at the time, I believe, or maybe I just wanted to get the achievements and get through it. It had some good missions in it, but again, it's not like it wasn't so memorable that I'm constantly replaying it. The only one that I've constantly played through over and over and over and over again was Black Ops 2. I think that was the last one I played more than once. I played through that campaign like 20 times because there was challenges for each level. I think, right? I think that's the only one. Maybe Black Ops 3 had that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so that I'm excited for. Yeah, well, I mean, we're definitely playing that. They're also adding like a Tarkov style of gameplay to it. So you'll have Warzone, and then you'll have another game mode, which is the Tarkov style map, where it's basically a giant free for all where you collect gear and get out. So I'm curious to see how they do that. That's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah. So let's talk about one other thing in gaming, kind of the next big thing, which was, oh God, why is this on? Proceed to TechRAR. Thank you. So we got to talk about PS Plus. So they announced this on Thursday, I believe. So PlayStation, for all you PlayStation players, big changes coming up. It's not so much big changes. It's more so just more options for you. So basically, PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now, I don't know what you call it. Again, I don't play on console because I'm not poor. But they've kind of made PlayStation into multi-tier now. So you have what's called Essential, Extra, and Premium. I know Travis and I talked about this on, was it Friday? I forget when we played Warzone. No, Thursday. So that means that they must have announced this on Wednesday. But let me read this to you real fast. So Essential, PlayStation Plus Essential, for $60 a year is the standard. So all that gives you is your usual, the 2 monthly downloadable games that they pick, your exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, and online multiplayer access. So that's standard. That's going to be the same. That doesn't change. But now we get into the better stuff. PS Plus Extra. So this is $100 a year. So we went from $60 to $100 a year. So you have all the benefits from the essentials, so what we just talked about, but you have a catalog of 400 plus PS4 game. Well, I guess I shouldn't say plus because there's PS Plus and that might be confusing. You have 400 or more PS4 and PS5 games that you can download and stream for free whenever you want. The catalog's pretty big, but a lot of times it's like, I don't want to say it's no-name games, but a lot of the times the better selling games aren't on there. So one of the ones I saw was all the Ratchet and Clanks are there, but the one that everyone says is the best isn't there. So that's like an example of what you'll see a lot of. I think this is great, though. Now, I did hear that with the streaming games. So, I'm sorry. When I said streaming, nowadays we have what's called live game streaming. So, instead of downloading the game onto your hard drive, you can actually just live stream it from servers that they have at Sony. And there are a couple hiccups with it. It also heavily depends on your internet. So, if you don't have good internet, it might not work very well for you. I always thought it was client side, but I don't think that's necessarily true always. So just be careful. Like, if you don't have good internet, I don't know if you're going to want to try this, but I think you'll obviously have to get the $60 one. But there's still one more tier. So we went from essential to extra, and now we have premium. Now this is pretty interesting. So this is $120 a year. Now, I know that sounds like a big jump. It's literally double what the essential is, but let me tell you what's in this package. So you have all the benefits of the essential and extra tiers. So you have those 400 plus games, PS4 and PS5 games. 400 plus PS4 and PS5 games, which is great. But you also have 340 additional games, including PS3 games, a catalog of PS2 and PSP generation games, and the original PlayStation. both in streaming and download options. That's huge. So if you're a big retro game player, like if you like games from, if you were just a kid that grew up on PlayStation games, holy fuck, I would grab this in a second. Like you're literally getting your PS5 or whatever. Like if you have a PS5 or a PS4, you literally just took all the consoles and threw them into one. Like you did it. You won. It's over. Don't ever go back and buy a PS2 or whatever to play your favorite game or do an emulator. There's no point. Because now for $120, you can play whatever game in the world you want at any time. The only thing I've heard about it, as I said, the streaming is a little bit of a problem. So if you have some issues with your internet, maybe the streaming aspect's not great, you might just have to download it. The other thing I heard is that sometimes the achievement system is not great. Like some games have achievements, some don't. And it seems like there's some AI system that will actually auto-generate achievements for the older games that didn't have achievements back in the day because there were no trophy system. So I'm a big achievement hunter, so it kind of sucks, but also you're getting 500 plus games year round for $120. Dude, honest to God, that's I don't see any downside to that. Like so essentially for $60 more, you're getting every PlayStation game ever made in one. I don't understand. Hey, Sony, are you trying to lose money, dude? It sounds like you're trying to lose money. Oh my God. So, yeah, that's big, but here's the part that I feel like no one's really talking about, and I wonder if I'm just stupid and they're not talking about it because it's been like this for a long time. But it says that customers can stream games using the PS4 and PS5 consoles and PC. Does that mean I can get premium on my PC and play PlayStation games on my PC? I have to check that one. You see, like I can't see why I can't see why I wouldn't do that. If I was a PlayStation gamer, I would be on this fucking like politicians on Epstein Island, dude. Oh man. Canceled first episode. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all the news, the gaming news. Besides that, what else can we talk about? I know there was a couple things in the news that weren't gaming. I don't know if I want to really talk about that. I know that one of the things that someone asked my opinion on, I was kind of surprised by this, but apparently Disney just released the new Buzz Lightyear movie, and I guess there's an LGBTQ scene where two females are kissing. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Someone asked me like, "Oh my God, it's terrible." I was like, I don't know. I don't think. I guess my question would be to Disney, like, "Hey, what are we catering to? Who are we catering to?" Because let's be honest, kids aren't there for a kissing scene. They're there for the action of Buzz Lightyear. I grew up on Buzz Lightyear. Toy Story shit. I mean, I grew up on that. Toy Story 1 came out when I was like 2. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I think you could make an argument that it's grooming. Disney's grooming kids, but yeah, it's kind of that's a weird one. I wouldn't put kissing scenes in general in a kids movie, to be honest with you. I mean, I know you have the romantic, like you have a female protagonist and a male protagonist, and then at some point they meet halfway, sure, whatever. But for a movie like Buzz Lightyear, or again, any Disney movie that doesn't involve princesses, do we need it? Does it really make that much of a change to the movie? Why? And then you can make the argument, why not? Yeah, same argument. Here's the thing. I'm not seeing it. Not because of those reasons, but because I'm fucking 26 wearing Naruto socks. Yeah, that was a weird one. I don't know. It's one of those things that doesn't bother me that much. I don't know why it's bothering people a lot. But Disney's tanking. It's funny because our country's a little more accepting, whereas Disney movies, where that are shown all over the world, a lot of those countries will not like that, and I think Disney's going to take quite a hit. But again, it is Disney. They're not going anywhere. They can kind of do what they want. They'll take the financial loss. They make up for it with their theme parks. So, yeah, Walt Disney did something right. Um, so, yeah. Another one I did want to quickly touch on, which I know not all of you guys are into sports. I'm actually not that big into sports, but this is kind of a big deal because I saw it trending on YouTube. And very rarely will anything on ESPN trend. I'm big into MMA. Like all of us watch MMA and we'll watch the UFC fights. But let me see if I can find it. It was Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith got into a little bit of a fight here. Yeah, it looks like it's already been fizzled out on yeah, it's already off the explore page or the trending page. But so there was a big fight between Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. Now, I kind of grew up on Skip Bayless. Like my dad would always play it when we were at the kitchen table because that's what we would watch during dinner. And I always wondered what happened to him, but basically, just to really give the story, so Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith used to have a show together, and it just didn't. Skip just decided to retire, but what happened was Stephen A. Smith came later, but Stephen A. on, I think, the Riddick podcast, I forget whose podcast it was, but he basically said that he was the reason that their show didn't fall apart. And Skip said, well, that's not true at all. And it just kind of caused some heat. But I don't think that's the real issue. I know you're like, oh, why are you bringing this up? But one thing I hear at ESPN, I have some friends that have worked there in the past. The ego complex that those people have who aren't athletes is kind of insane. So I hear Stephen A. Smith has quite the ego. That Max, what's his freaking name? He and Stephen A. used to have a show together, and they just butted heads so much that eventually, Stephen A. Smith. Eventually, Stephen A. Smith just had him kicked off the show. So, okay, his name is Max Kellerman. We don't communicate ever since co-host Max was removed from ESPN's sport debate show First Take. Yeah, listen, if you're not playing, this is gonna be a hot take, but listen, I don't think you should have an ego if you're not an athlete. Yeah, you have a TV show. So many people have TV shows. People listen to you, great. But ever since ESPN brought politics into sports, it's kind of fallen apart. I know a lot of people who are avid sports fans who don't even watch ESPN anymore. So I think I like the guys. I think Stephen A is a great person. Same with Max. I just think that God complex that these guys have is a little out of hand from what I hear. So that's about it. That's all we'll talk about this week. I don't know how long that was. That felt like forever. It was probably maybe 30 minutes. I have to go through that footage. But guys, we got one under our belt. I thought it went pretty well. You guys tell me. I think, again, as I said, the camera angles are going to be a little off. I got to figure some stuff out. But I'll try and crop it down a little bit. This first one's going to be a little rough. But hopefully it was still good enough for you guys to at least listen, maybe watch a little bit in the background. As I said, Discords are down below, and you'll find them. Please join that because that will make this podcast that much better with you guys throwing in news articles throughout the week. We don't judge the articles. Just throw them in there, whether you care about it or not. Just throw it in. I'll look it over. I'll decide if it's worth talking about, and we'll do that. Personal questions, if you want to ask me questions or just tell me what's going on in your life, get some advice, I'll let you know. Just throw them in there. Please join that. Let's build that Discord up. We'll come up with more categories, more things to do. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I will leave a link in the descriptions down below for all the important things. Please go check those out as well. And yeah, you guys have a good week. I'll see you guys at stream tonight because this comes out on Monday. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Good job.